Gay, Wanting My Best Friend. First time gay romance, gay fiction. Written by Kathleen Hope. Narrated by Leonard Jr. Chapter 1. Curious. Stevie. I sat on the couch watching the news and looking over the essays that my students had written on the reading we'd done in class. I found myself zoning out reading crappy paper after crappy paper. It was totally obvious that several students hadn't even bothered to read the book and still turned in their paper anyway. Like I wouldn't know they hadn't read the damn thing. Why do I bother even assigning work? I said out loud as I tossed another red-streaked essay into the done pile. What's your problem? I looked up as my roommate Tony came into the room. He was dressed in shorts and a t-shirt. I thought I was teaching high school, but I guess I was wrong. Kindergartners write better than these kids do. He grinned. They'll be all right. How about a little basketball to clear your mind? Vito just called. I guess he didn't have to work after all. I stared at the pile of papers. Basketball or more essays? Basketball or more essays? Basketball won. I straightened my piles of essays and shut off the tube. I guess I could use a little breather, and trouncing you two assholes on the court is just the break I need. Tony snorted. You're the one who's going to get trounced, my friend. Let's face it, you're an armchair athlete. Hey, I work out, I said indignantly. I flexed my arms, making my biceps bulge. I was rather proud of them, and my physique in general. I wasn't a model like Tony. I didn't have the face and killer good looks that he had, but I worked with what I had. I didn't get many complaints from the ladies. Anyone can pick up a weight or two, he scoffed, pulling up the tail of his shirt. He showed me his flat-ripped belly. This is hard work. I stared at his six-pack, feeling almost jealous. Tony did work hard at his body, and it showed. He had a handsome face that made women and some men look twice at him. He was a clothing model, and had several magazine covers and layouts to his credit. They were framed and hung on what I jokingly called the Tony Awards wall. Tony absently ran his hand over his stomach, and my eyes were drawn to the movement. Damn, I wish my abs looked that cut. I was no slouch in the six-pack department, but mine weren't as chiseled as his. My hand suddenly seemed to itch with the desire to touch his warm bronze skin. I quickly stuck my hands in my pockets before I acted on it. The loud, tiny sound of Tony's ringtone at the moment startled me. He dropped the bunch of material of his shirt to answer his gigantic phone. As the end of the shirt fell back into place to cover his abs, I began to breathe again. I gestured to my room and hurried inside before he could ask me what my problem was. I closed the door and leaned against it. What was my problem? I had seen Tony and most of my friends shirtless at some point, and it never bothered me at all, so why was I half-hard and longing to touch my best friend's stomach? I pushed away from the door and went to change into a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. I was just tired. That was it. Tired. And we still had a month to go before Christmas vacation. A little basketball would clear my head. Tony pushed open the door. Hey, you ready to go? Eddie and Vito are going to meet us there. I grabbed my bag and tossed the towel and clean t-shirt inside. Yep, let the ass-whipping commence. He glanced at me as he headed out the door. You're pretty confident, aren't you? I shrugged as I got into his Jeep. Why shouldn't I be? I've got skills, too. Tony laughed as he swung into traffic heading to the community center where we always went to play. When are you going to show them off, then? I gave him the finger as he turned his attention to the street. It was busy for a Friday. I guess everyone was just as ready as I had been to get home. We finally made it to the park where we liked to play. The park had a large outdoor court where 2 full court games could go on without people running into each other. There was also a regulation-sized court inside the community center. It didn't matter to us which court we used, as long as we got to play. I jumped down from the Jeep as another car pulled into the parking lot, hard rock music blasting from the speakers. Vito liked his music loud. Poor Eddie was going to be deaf from the music. He got out of the car, rubbing at his ear. What's happening, Teach? He greeted me, giving me a fist bump. What up, Bony Tony? He greeted our other friend in the same manner. Eddie shook his head. Something is really wrong with him, he said, giving me a bro hug, slapping me on my back. Yes, I've said that for a long time. How's Eve and Hannah? Eddie smiled at the mention of his beautiful wife and precious 2-month-old daughter. They are great. Hannah is growing like a weed every day, and Evie is the sexiest woman on the planet. I laughed with him.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?